and I grew up, there's a giant percentage of people who have cancer, like ridiculous numbers. I'm not going to quote them because I haven't done the research in a while and looked at it, but she got on this bandwagon, and she's an activist. Mary Zach is her name, and she's going to be on Aaron Brockovich talking about the waste. Where we grew up, there was a mill just dropping waste everywhere. I mean, it's just incredible. My mother died of cancer at 41 years old. She grew up in the same town. So, in just the amount of numbers. So we're really looking at Michigan, and then, of course, you have the Flint thing, but I grew up on the other side of the state, on the west side of the state. But either way, Michigan has so many streams and so much water, which makes it beautiful, but then again makes it polluted because everyone's dumping stuff into it for hundreds of years, and it's seeping into the earth, and we're living on it. And yes, it's something to look at and educate yourself with. Ladies, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go to a commercial. It's about a 1-minute commercial, everyone. We will be back.
You're listening to Third Eye Political Radio, and we really appreciate you joining us. And when you have a moment, why don't you check out our sister station, Heart Over Ego Radio, where we offer a lineup of shows that are guaranteed to raise your vibrations and guide you into your best life. We offer shows on Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio, Mondays, The Alchemy Sisters, Tuesdays, Radical Spirituality, and on Wednesdays, All for One is Love. And then we close out the week on Fridays with Rain Radio. Amazing shows produced for you 5 days a week, only on Blog Talk Radio. That's right, it's our sister station, Heart Over Ego Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Political Star Talk, and you are here with Jennie, Sonya, and Sibyl. Sonya, do you have any questions or statements? Because if not, we're going to hand it back over to Sibyl.
No, not really.
Cool.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. I'm good on my questions, and you covered the questions that I had asked already. So what do you got for us, Sibyl? Where do you want to go next?
So now the good stuff, like how do we move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, as I talked about, it is about, the veil is falling off and having the courage to look at what is really happening and name it, because that's how we make change, okay? But the other piece is that, as Einstein said, no problem was ever solved at the level of thinking at which it was created. And so moving, Neptune is in Pisces right now, which is the field, and it is the field of love. And it is that field that where we know every thought, feeling, action impacts the field. And so the key right now, part of it is the roto-rooter system, is cleaning out our own hearts so that we can raise our vibration. And as we raise our own vibration, we put that out into the field, and it creates ripples. And the clearer we are, the clearer our energy is to put out there. And we can move from love and compassion. And but, the other teaching is to really look at our thoughts and where they take us, and know that all of those things, they are creating the field that we are. Okay, and so it is really about coming. There's many indigenous people that are really sharing their wisdom now, and like the Kogi from South America. I don't know if you're familiar with who they are, but they are a group of people. They say they're the direct descendants of Atlantis. And they have lived in the Sierra Madre Mountains in Colombia from time immemorial. And they've just recently come out and had contact with the outer world. And they say that the coronavirus is bringing fear. That's what it's doing. It is bringing fear. It is empowered by fear. It's fed by fear. And that love is our shield. And that in the way that fear and anger and, basically almost all difficult emotions emanate from some form of fear, and fear is the opposite of love. And love and joy and peace, they emit chemicals as well that make ourselves strong and healthy, okay? And that love is our shield. And it is, and we are getting this roto-rooter job to raise our vibration and so that and that we put that higher vibration out in the field, it impacts everything. And that's why group prayer, group meditation, all of these, we are moving into we're not there, we're straddling it, but quantum physics, and as everything being energy, is what we are moving into as our new consensus reality and our new understanding of the nature of reality. So that's what this is really about. And Mother Earth is moving into higher dimensions. And for us to be able to move with her, this is what we need to do. But we've got some places to clean up. We're doing house cleaning within ourselves and house cleaning within our world. But to be able to do it, we have to have the courage to look at what is really happening and hold our seat. And our seat is love.
It's the big healer. It has power.
Yeah. So what made me remember it was the advertisement when it was that Drew, I'm not sure who that was speaking, but it talked about vibration and said, yep, that's the key. That's what we're doing.
Changing the vibration,
yes,
making it lighter. And in this exposure we're getting an opportunity to see is highly effective, and it's going to bring us shifts and moves that otherwise wouldn't have come for years and years and years, in my opinion. So this is serious wake-up call. I think that one of the big things that I keep hearing people talk about, and I like hearing people talk about it, and I'm even engaging myself this spring, is a lot of people are starting to grow their own food. And I think that is a wonderful way to use time, get out in nature, and then also have less of a need to get it from somewhere else, because I was just watching the news before we went on the show today, and I definitely take it with a grain of salt, and I take all kinds of information with a grain of salt, but they were talking about how because half of some of the things that we produce go to the restaurant industries, that those aren't open, so they're having to till over their crops. And then the lady that was doing the news was like, no, why are we doing this? And they had a lady come on, and she was making the best sense of it that was either told to her or that she figured out is, we can't redistribute this. We don't have the trucking system to retool and re-gear everything. There are some potatoes being given away, but milk's being dumped and whole fields are being plowed over. And I was like, oh, dang, this is tricky. We need to get better constructs and be able to shift and change. This has been going on for a month. Surely we could retool some things, or maybe I'm just optimistically thinking. Have you ladies seen that on the news or anything, how they're having to till over fields?
Yes, the farmers actually, they're killing crops, they're destroying food. Yeah, so they have a surplus.
It's absolutely the way forward, Jennie, like you said. It is. We need to go back to a local economy, and I think this is part of the shift, growing food. And the thing is, I had read that so many millennials, were returning, they couldn't find jobs in the city, so they were returning to the land, becoming farmers. This is Mother Nature calling us home. This is what needs to happen. The systems that we have created are not sustainable for her or for us. And so absolutely, this is part of the shift.
Big one.
There's
definitely
eye-opening that are developing around that. When I lived in Buffalo, New York, there was one lady who was trying to plan a whole community around growing their own agriculture and holding farmers markets and having a little strip of retail shops that they could rent out, that people might hold cooking classes or have some sort of education, but everything, or selling holistic products, all natural products. But that is definitely, I agree with Sibyl, that's the direction that everyone is moving in, to the point where they're developing what they call planned urban development, because this wasn't out in rural anywhere. These were developments being planned in the urban environment.
Right. So cool. If anyone has access to Netflix, look up the documentary called American Commune. It's about the farm in Summertown, Tennessee. And on one of my other shows, The Alchemy Sisters, we had Jan Mundo on, who was definitely a part of that community and leaving San Francisco and starting a way of life.
What's it called?
And American Commune. And it's actually created by Jan Mundo, who was one of the original movers and shakers in developing that. It was made by her daughters, who at one point worked for MTV. So later in life, they apparently started making video, which wouldn't surprise me working for MTV back in the day, and they created American Commune. And of course, they're in some of the videos and pieces, and it's wonderful. It was a brilliant display of how some of that can work, and they're still functioning today. In fact, I was there a couple years ago. $40 a night, you can stay with one of the original founders, or at least within the first 10 years that they founded it. And they feed you 3 vegan meals a day. They have a sauna with a pond that you can detox in. And I just found it to be a brilliant place to vacation. And of course, there wasn't a lot of hoopla, meaning like Wi-Fi, but that's why I went. It was a little community. They made their own tofu. There's a publishing community there, a publishing business. The lady I stayed with wrote a bunch of cooking books that was published by said publishing company. So just to get an idea of how a small, and that's how we can look at it, and we can grow that, but that's a small functionality of how things can work in the future. And of course, you can grow that. That's a smaller community, but surely the construct is good if it's been going since I guess late 60s, early 70s.
Well, I actually live in a community.
Cool.
I live in an intentional community. And this is absolutely the wave of the future. People need to learn how to live together again. I feel like these are people, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And I think this is the direction we're going. People are going to, and the thing is, I live here in California, and there's been a huge backlash after all the communes that were here in the 60s. So it's very hard to create one here. And yet, where I live of what's called a housing cooperative, and it was created back in the 1980s by a group who called themselves the Earthquakers. They were a group of Quakers and Unitarians from Berkeley, and they came up here to Sonoma County in Santa Rosa and bought this land. They were basically socialists at heart, and they believed that everyone was entitled to safe, affordable housing. And so I live in a 27-unit housing community where we co-own, manage, and co-govern ourselves. Okay, we run by consensus, and we are paying we pay 1982 prices because it's not investment property. So there is a small buy-in fee and then a monthly what we call carrying charge. But we do as much of the work as we can. We do probably 75% of the work here ourselves in maintenance, but we do 100% governing, managing, and it's a really wonderful place, to live. And there's about 50 of ones that are structured like the one I'm in. I think they said around the world, but there's many intentional communities popping up in different places but under different structures. And I believe that's the other piece. And we do grow a lot of food here as well, right in the heart of Santa Rosa. So it is the wave of the future. I really see that is collaborative living closer to the earth, because this is a big place we've gotten out of alignment with Mother Nature, I think.
Agreed. Ladies, if you get a chance, or if you haven't already, and I don't know if you like Michael Moore or not, but he dropped a new documentary on Earth Day, and I think it was called Planet of the Human or something, Planet Human, Human Planet, something like that. And it's about green energy and how green it isn't. So if anyone's interested in that, that's available for free. I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Just Google Michael Moore's new documentary. It was about an hour long, and it went into some details. And he was kind of producer of it, but he had some science in there. He had done the research, and again, you'd be the determiner of if you like his work or not. But he had some educated individuals in there helping him put together this information, and maybe both of you would like it. Hey, did you guys hear about it?
Oh, I started watching it, and I watched it about halfway through, and it was so depressing.
It was depressing. I watched halfway through, too.
Yeah, I think I get the picture.
Yeah, my boyfriend thought it was great and watched it all the way through and was just fascinated by it. So I think if you only need a piece of it, go ahead, and if you need all of it, go ahead and take that too. But I'm a big fan of Michael Moore's work over the years, and I live in Michigan, and I was in Traverse City doing some vacationing. I'm from the southern part of the state, and he was having his 20th anniversary of Roger and Me, which is his